When we talk about arcs, pretty much everything moves in arcs, in curves. It's one of those things in animation that adds, that makes things visually interesting. So instead of things moving in a straight line, sometimes an arc makes things a little more pleasant visually than just. Arcs is one of those things that we find constantly in our everyday life. This is one of those principles that also helps soften and loosen up our animations. We'll start you out thinking of arcs in the most basic of ways, and we'll try to get you thinking about arcs pretty much in every single part of the character. It's basically that type of action that doesn't affect our primary action. It deals on the illusion of life, it deals more with acting, which we'll talk later on. A secondary action in a shot is what keeps the character alive and helps either the attitude or the emotion of the character, or even furthers the story, but it does not take away from the main action going on.
And secondary could also be if you're talking to someone and you're doing another action.
The secondary action always supports the main action. It never affects it, and if it conflicts or becomes more interesting or dominating in any way, it's not gonna be a secondary action anymore.
Timing for me is about the most important principle that I had to learn and that I'm still learning, and I will always be learning in the future. So with timing, we are saying so many things combined. I would say both timing and posing are two of the most important principles. What is so powerful about timing is that you can, for example, in a character, you can know how a character feels just by the way the character is timed out. Let's say in an object, you can tell how heavy this object is or how light the object is just by the way the object is timed out.
Timing is the number of drawings you have in your animations and how you space them out. It's really a fundamental principle that in many cases takes years to figure out. Without timing, you have no life. Timing is the one principle that will give life to something as simple as a bouncing ball. We will be breaking timing down in different areas because as you learn animation, you will realize that it's important to know how to time everything in your character, from the arms to the head to the legs. Exaggeration can be very wide. You can exaggerate an action and make it more cartoony. You can exaggerate personality. So if you have somebody upset, you can actually exaggerate that personality and actually make a caricature of that. So exaggeration can come in a lot of different ways. Exaggeration is pushing an action more than the usual, so that it has more effect and impact. This is something that the early Disney films and definitely the Warner Brothers and Tex Avery cartoons started in their films. In many ways, this principle is what makes animation such a unique medium. Solid drawing and solid posing. Solid drawing is the name of the original principle that started out in 2D. Equivalent in 3D would be solid posing and how you pose your character so that the pose is as simple, clear, and as readable as it can be. Solid drawing applies in computer animation to posing and how we pose our character so that it has the most strongest attitude and emotion that he or she could have. It's important to always think about the pose of the character because it's gonna say a lot about our characters. Appeal is the one principle that the old Disney guys made it very general. Appeal can be something as appeal in a pose, you know, a drawing or a pose. The way you pose your character, is it interesting? Does it have appeal? Something as a design. Is your character design, the way you design your character, does it have appeal to watch? I think what the Disney guys were originally trying to convey is something that has appeal in the way that is visually pleasant. So it could be appealing in the way it moves, it's fluid, as opposed to something rigid. Appeal is anything that feels right and makes you want to watch something over and over and over. Appeal applies in many different ways, from a design of a character, to the pose of the character, to the choice in the acting. So it's basically what feels charming. And whenever you hear the phrase, it feels right, that's what appeal should be.
So I hope you guys have fun on this class. Like I said earlier, it's important that it's not that we want you guys to know how to apply these principles right now and do an amazing animation tomorrow. It's gonna take a lot more than that. But instead, what I would like for you guys to do after this class is to just remember these principles. Just remember which ones they are. Go and read The Illusion of Life and see what they have to say about the principles, because they are the people that basically put these principles together.